Welcome back to the online sessions on this embedded systems. So in the previous class, we were discussing on the addressing modes in 8051 microcontroller. So the 8051 microcontroller is also going to support the addressing modes which have been supported by 8086 microprocessor. The only difference is that the 8051 microcontroller is of 8-bit microcontroller basically. That means the size of ALU of 8051 is going to be of 8-bit. Therefore, it is going to be called as a 8-bit microcontroller. So usually the 8-bit microcontroller, that means the microcontroller bit size is purely depends on the ALE, is purely depend on the accumulator size. So here in the case of the 8051, accumulator is going to be 8 bits. So therefore, it is normally going to be called as a 8-bit microcontroller. So here we have discussed about register addressing mode, direct addressing mode, indirect mode, and immediate mode. So in register addressing mode, what is most importantly we do is the two operands are going to be registers, while we normally going to move the data from one location to another location. Both of them are normally going to be of the registers. So the contents of the registers have been used for data transfer in the case of the register addressing mode. The next one is going to be called as a direct addressing mode. This direct addressing mode is normally preferred to access the on-chip memory locations, using which directly the address of the memory location is directly mentioned here in the case of the direct addressing mode. Say for example, I want to transfer contents of accumulated to some port P1. Then I can do by using a direct addressing mode. And say I wanted to transfer the contents of the memory location 55 to accumulator A, then I'll be using the direct addressing mode. So here directly I'll be mentioning the 8-bit data or 8-bit number. So that 8-bit number is normally usually going to resemble the address locations. The next one is going to be indirect addressing mode. In the case of this indirect addressing mode, we are normally going to use the registers known as R0, R1, R2, so on up to R7. Okay, and we normally use the operator called at the rate operator. So using at the rate operator and the internal memory segment registers from R0 to R7, we access the memory locations. So whose address is contained in the registers R0 to R7. So it is something like value at address pointer operation in the CNDS language. In CNDS, we are going to use pointers. In pointers, we are going to use the operator called as star. So that star is nothing but what value at address operator. So at the rate is also called as value at address operator. At R0, if I say, means the value at the address contained in R0 will be accessed by using this particular indirect addressing mode. The next mode we have discussed is going to be called immediate addressing mode. In the case of immediate addressing mode, directly the 8-bit data or 16-bit data is normally going to get transferred into the microcontroller's registers. If it is going to be of 16-bit data to get transferred directly, we normally use PC or a DPTR, which are going to be 16-bit registers in the 8051 microcontroller. If we want to transmit 8 bits, we usually prefer move instruction, move A comma some hash 55H. So in that instruction, what happens is 55 is directly moved into the accumulator A. So like that, we use the immediate addressing mode. Okay. The next addressing modes are going to be relative, absolute, long, and index addressing mode. So these addressing modes which we preferably use in the jump instructions. So the relative and absolute are normally preferred in the implicit addressing mode. That means implicitly these addressing modes will be applied even though you don't know exactly how a relative and absolute is really been implemented. Still you can use the various microcontroller instructions from the instruction set to implement this relative and absolute addressing mode. Internally, it is going to implement relative and absolute addressing mode without the intervention of the programmer by giving some external values to these two addressing modes. Then long addressing mode, we can normally give 16-bit address lines directly, 16-bit address directly, so that the data can move to that particular external 16-bit memory location. That means this long addressing mode is normally used to address the external memory locations connected to the microcontroller device. And indexed addressing mode is normally used to add the contents of accumulator registers with the address location, so that we normally put some counters, and using the counters we normally going to program our microcontroller based on the indexed addressing mode kind of mechanism to transfer a bulk of data or bunch of data from one memory location into the another memory location. We normally prefer to use the indexed addressing mode kind of a thing, which we normally use it along with the counters in the 8051 microcontrollers. So these are the various modes, and we discussed about addressing mode as we are talking to, as I'm talking to you now. Add a comma r7. So a is in a register, r7 is also a register. So that means here we are using two operands are going to be of registers, whereas ADD is nothing but the opcode. A and r7 are known as the operands. So these addressing modes, the types of addressing modes depends on the operands that we normally going to use in general. So in general, if you use registers, it is going to become it will be coming under the register addressing mode for us. In some other instructions, we have seen increment DPTR. That means the DPTR is 16-bit register, data pointer register. It can be incremented by 1 byte. It can be incremented by 1. Then next one is going to be multiply AB. So using this multiply AB also, we normally going to, it's a 1 byte instruction multiplying unsigned values in accumulator and register B. So accumulator and register B contents are simply going to get multiplied, and result is stored in the accumulator. So that is what the instruction, which is both A and B, both of them are going to be registers used here. Therefore, it comes under simply register addressing mode. So addressing modes are normally used to access the data or memory locations for an instruction to execute. Okay, so that is what basically the usage of the addressing modes. Then next addressing mode we discussed is direct addressing mode. In this direct addressing mode, directly we are mentioning 55H. That means here what happens here, that the whatever the 55H is really addressing, the value in that 55H is simply been transferred, been added to the contents of the accumulator, and result is stored in the accumulator. So in the case of this move instruction, what is happening? The contents of A are simply moved into the address location pointed by P1. So P1 is going to address 90H. So whatever 90H device is connected to that device, this particular data is simply been transmitted from the accumulator. That means here in the direct addressing mode, one is going to be the register, another one is going to be the directly data. That is what the meaning of this direct addressing mode. Indirect addressing mode, if you see, at the rate or not we are using. So here we normally operate with at the rate operator. Whenever you see at the rate some register, this type of addressing mode is known as a indirect addressing mode type. Okay, so this is what the basic instruction which we normally going to have for indirect addressing mode. Okay, the next one we have seen is in immediate addressing mode. So how do we differentiate this addressing mode with a hash? Whenever you have something with a hash, it is known as immediate addressing mode. It simply comes under the immediate addressing mode because it is coming by the instruction hash. Prior to this, we are getting an instruction with hash. Therefore, it is called as immediate type of the addressing mode for us. Now, if it is going to be 8-bit data, if it is going to be 8-bit data that you want to move to accumulator, we use like this hash 12. If you want to move 16-bit data into the 16-bit register, you have to use 16-bit data here. So 8-bit in hexadecimal is known as 16-bit in binary for us. So each bit, each place at hexadecimal resembles the 4 binary bits. 4 binary bits for us. So therefore, here 16-bit data is simply moved into the DPTR register. Okay. So here this is immediate because it is followed the what is that the data or whatever the contents, the operand, one of the operand contents are going to get followed by the hash symbol. Therefore, this type of mode is known as immediate addressing mode for us. Yeah. The next one is going to be the relative addressing mode. This relative addressing mode is normally used with certain jump instructions. So here we need not use it explicitly. So implicitly this relative addressing mode is normally been used, which is going to be a 8-bit offset value, which is added to the program counter to go to the next instruction. So it is automatically used by the jump instructions. We need not bother about the utilization of this relative addressing modes. Okay. So only thing is you should know the instruction and how to use the instruction. Inside jump instruction, relative addressing mode is being used. Okay. Automatically this addressing mode is normally been implemented in the instruction for us. The next one is absolute addressing mode. It is used for the A call instructions, A jump instructions. They are called as something like, absolute addressing modes. So in this addressing modes, what happens is the 11 least significant bits of destination address comes from the opcode. So opcode itself is going to give 11 bits of the 16-bit address, and the 5 upper bits will be taken from the program counter. So these two will be used to jump to the appropriate location. So therefore 2 power 11 locations it can be used to address. That means the relative addressing mode is normally used to access small amount of memory. Absolute addressing memory is normally used to access the medium level of memory, which is going to be more than small memory. And long addressing mode is to utilize all 16-bit memory locations. That means it is normally used to connect to the external memory locations or to transfer data to the external memory of 16-bit size. So therefore long jump instruction is for long addressing modes. Say if you give 8A F2H, what happens? The control simply jumps to this particular memory location. So where the code may reside, and the microcontroller is going to execute the codes which have been stored from the starting location of the 8A F2H memory location. So that is how the basic addressing modes which we normally going to have. And last one is going to be indexed addressing mode. Index addressing mode is normally come with a @ operator followed by plus operator also. That means what it does, DPTR, once you mention the contents of DPTR will be taken. @A means what? The value at the address contained in A. That means in A there may be some address location. The value at the address contained in A will be taken, and those two are normally been added. In the case of the indexed type of the addressing mode, kind of a addressing method. So here in this indexed addressing method uses a base register. So base register is known as either a DPTR DPTR register or a program counter. What is DPTR? It is nothing but data pointer register or a program counter, and an offset. Offset is taken from the register, say maybe accumulator, in forming the effective address for the jump instruction or a move instruction. So this move C space A comma means what? It is simply going to move the data from the code segment into the accumulator. So this instruction, the C stands for code segment related move instruction. If you don't write anything C here, it is simply not code segment related issues. So when you write move C, it is a code segment related instruction. So the instruction is basically move. So this instruction is related to the code segment movement instruction. So this instruction moves a byte of data from the code memory to the accumulator. So that means this @A plus DPTR is normally going to point to the code segment. So the value from the code segment or a data from the code segment is simply moved into the accumulator. So this is the instruction normally preferred to fetch the code which is resided in the memory location for us. So this is what the index addressing mode, how we normally use in the 8051 microcontroller. Then let us examine the instruction set of the 8051 microcontroller. So 8051 microcontroller, as I said, it is going to be a 8-bit microcontroller. Because it is an 8-bit microcontroller, this 8051 instruction set have 8-bit opcodes. The opcodes are all going to be of 8-bit opcodes in the 8051 microcontroller because it is of 8-bit microcontroller. So there are 256 possible instructions, of which 255 are implemented. So how many instructions are there in 8051 microcontroller? Around 256 possible instructions are there in the 8051 microcontroller, of which 255 can be implemented by the programmer. So there are 139 1-byte instructions, there are 92 2-byte instructions, and there are 24 3-byte instructions there in the 8051 microcontroller. So you're going to have instructions going to be a 1-byte, 2-byte, and 3-byte instructions. So instructions means what? The basically opcode. So opcode is normally known as an instruction to the microcontroller. Opcodes such as ADD add, MOV move, SUB sub. Okay. So MUL multiplication. So all these are nothing but what now? Opcodes. So opcodes are nothing but instructions. So instructions are going to execute it in are going to be of 1-byte instructions. There could be 2-byte instructions and there could be 3-byte instructions. So that's what we are writing here. The 8051 microcontroller is going to support 139 1-byte instructions, 92 2-byte instructions, and 24 3-byte instructions. So these are all the various opcode sizes which we have in the 8051 microcontroller. Well, next, what are the various instructions which are there, types of instructions which are there in the 8051 microcontroller? The types of instructions 8051 are divided into 5 different groups. So usually every computer based system is going to support the basic operations such as what? Arithmetic operations it supports, logically it supports, data transfer instructions it supports, program branching also it is going to support. So all the microprocessor based systems are normally going to support these 4 basic types of instructions in the microprocessor based systems. So one more extra coming to picture, that is called Boolean variable instruction. So this is what extra in the 8051 microcontroller utilized. So why this Boolean? Because 8051 microcontroller can access the individual bits also. As it can be used to access individual bits, we simply call such instructions to access individual bits is going to be called as Boolean variable instructions. So rest of them is going to be exactly same as the instruction types used in the 8086 microprocessor, or any, for that matter, any of the microprocessor based type of the systems. Okay. So let us try to go with this some of them now. Today we'll try to cover arithmetic and logical operations, which are very easy. Arithmetic means what are arithmetic operations? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, all these are the arithmetic operations. What are the logical operations? AND operation, OR operation, XOR operation, all these are the logical operations. So next we try to go through these 2 operations or instructions, how we normally use it here. Arithmetic and logical operations. So before we go further discussing about the various types of these instruction types, let us try to have a gist on the programming intensity which is there for the microprocessor based systems and a microcontroller based system. So usually the microprocessor instruction sets are processing intensive. So microprocessor is basically used for general purpose operations. Therefore, it is purely based on the processing intensive kind of instructions. Therefore, these instructions are going to operate on the nibbles, bytes, words, or even double words. Okay. So these are nothing but basically the microprocessor based instructions. What do you mean by a word? A word is going to be called as a 2-byte instruction, 4-byte instruction, 8-byte instructions. All these are going to be called as the words for us. So these instructions used in microprocessor based systems are normally going to operate on nibbles, bytes, words, and double words. Now addressing modes here provide access to large areas of data using pointers and offsets. So here the addressing modes are normally used to provide large arrays of data. That means large amounts of memory. Data of large amounts of memory can be accessed by using this 8051 microcontroller based type of the systems, because it is normally meant for the addressing, normally meant for the general purpose processing. Now on the contrary, the microcontroller instruction sets cater to control of basically inputs and outputs. So microcontroller based systems are normally meant for specific applications where we always try to have uh, connection to the inputs and output devices, which are going to be hard coded interfacing devices. Therefore, the microcontroller based instructions are normally used to set and clear individual bits and perform bitwise operations. So we prefer 8051 microcontroller to perform bitwise operations because the speed of execution in 8051 is going to be more in comparison with the speed of execution 8086 microprocessing units. The reason being is that microcontroller based systems are usually hard coded systems, whereas microprocessor based systems are usually program enabled kind of the instructions. So therefore the time of execution is going to be really very less in the case of hard coded system in comparison with the general purpose based type of the systems. So therefore microcontroller instructions are used for microcontroller based instructions are used for input output operations, event timing operations, because in a embedded it is normally preferred to be used in embedded systems. Embedded systems are normally going to operate based on the event timings because it has to meet the deadlines. So therefore event timing operations normally used along with the real time operating systems. So enabling and setting the priority levels for interrupts caused by the external stimulus instructions. So it has to implement or execute instructions based on the levels of priorities. Okay, so therefore this latency, based on the latency time periods also, it has to really implement or execute the instructions. Therefore the microcontroller based instructions are normally preferred for these kind of operations in contrary to the microprocessor based type of the systems. Next one is the processing power of microcontroller is much less than the microprocessor units. Now, why the processing power of microcontroller is going to be very less in comparison with microprocessor based systems? Microprocessor based systems are general purpose systems, whereas microcontroller is going to be the specific purpose systems. So microcontroller based systems are going to be very small systems. So using such a small systems, we normally going to operate the external devices or some other devices. Whereas microprocessor general purpose means what, you can connect n number of devices or peripherals to the microprocessor based systems, or you can connect or you can implement, execute any kind of programming instructions using the microprocessor, whereas it is not true in the case of the microcontroller based system. Therefore microprocessor system is normally used for very huge systems, very large systems. Therefore the processing power definitely is going to be very less in the microcontroller based systems than the microprocessor based type of the systems. So these are all the some of the pros and cons on the instructions that have been used in microprocessor and microcontroller based type of the systems. So therefore whoever is going to program a microcontroller based systems, he has to know more about that particular microcontroller than he knows about the microprocessor based system whenever you're going to program these two. Okay, so this is what the basics of these two things which are very important and required for a programmer to write a program. That means in order to write a program using microcontroller based system, you should know more than what you know when used in a microprocessor based type of the systems to program a microprocessor system or a microcontroller based type of the systems. So if you program a microcontroller based system, you should know more information than when you're normally going to use a microprocessor based system to program it. So that means the more amount of information you require regarding the various types of instructions regarding the internals of the hardware, Okay, whenever you write a programming using microcontroller based type of the systems in comparison with a microprocessor based type of the systems. So these are the primary differences between the microprocessor based system and a microcontroller based system. Okay. So one thing we should not forget that microcontroller based systems are normally used to program for specific applications, whereas microprocessor based systems are normally used to program for general purpose computing applications, right? These two are the primary differences between microprocessor based systems and a microcontroller based type of the systems. And arithmetic operations, just to give a gist of it: add, addition is an arithmetic operation. See this addition, addition is an arithmetic operation. So add is arithmetic operation. Then subb, subtract with borrow, is arithmetic operation. Okay. And that means arithmetic operations usually require something like, binary operations. They require two operands. What is binary? 0 and 1 is binary, means what? Two operands. So any opcodes which normally require compulsorily two opcodes, two operands to implement its opcode or execute its opcode, it is simply comes under a binary kind of instruction for us. So to perform addition, we require two, operands. To perform subtraction, we need two operands. So addition, subtraction. To perform multiplication, also we require two operands. So all these are the instructions which we're going to have called as arithmetic operations, and one more operation called as increment. So for increment operation, we require only one operand. So one operand is required to increment. Okay, so we don't increment simultaneously two registered contents or two data values. So that means one more instruction is going to be arithmetic instruction, increment arithmetic instruction, which requires only single byte of the instruction for us. And similarly, we are going to have the logical instruction. Logical means what? End instruction. Okay, end instruction. So ANL is going to be end instruction. Okay, and XOR instruction, XRL instruction. So these are the instructions which are normally used to perform the end operation. So these are the logical instructions which we'll be using in the 8051 microcontroller. Okay, so with this we'll stop our session here right now, and next session we'll continue our discussions with the various types of the instructions used in the 8051 microcontroller. Thank you very much for the today's session.